Are you a really sad dog?
He's not sad.
Or are you a seal?
No, he's a dog. It's a dog.
Yeah.
It's not sad. The owners just went inside and left him outside so he'd poop.
Uh-huh.
And now he's trying to say, hey, I'm done.
I'm done pooping.
But here's the fun part. Guess what kind of dog it is?
A hound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100% what kind of hound?
Basset.
You're good at this. Man.
Basset.
There I am, the Basset hound. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the hound. Not from Game of Thrones, just a hound that had to poop and is done.
Yeah, I don't.
And
yes,
that
yes.
sound was created for you by Mr. Sean Patton. Hello.
Not to be confused with, I think the actor's name is Rory McKennaman.
Ooh, I don't
It's
know.
definitely Rory.
It's
the
definitely a Rory.
The dude who plays the hound's name is Rory.
Yeah.
That's a fun
Now
name.
say my name.
Caitlin Cook.
Hello.
That's your name. I was about to get to that, but I was going to just harp on the name Rory playing a bad fucker like the hound.
Yeah.
Who I think should have a spin-off series. There it is. I'm saying it.
The Hound?
HBO, if you're hearing this. And I think it should also star this week's guest. But we'll get to her in a second.
We will get to her in a second. Right now, we should just tell you, if you didn't know already, which you did because you clicked on this, you're listening to 5 Words, the podcast.
Yep.
This is the podcast where we have on a guest who's going to tell us a story, but before they tell us the story, they tell us 5 key words from that story, and then we try and figure out what the story is based on those 5 words and what we know about our guest.
I'd say it's our podcast is the podcast equivalent of seasons 1 through 4 of Game of Thrones.
Damn.
Because the rest of them are garbage.
Those
But
are fighting
the
words,
point
yeah.
being
Yeah.
that, boy, that's right there. I can already hear so many listeners turning this off. If you've turned it back on after realizing that shutting off this podcast, which is clearly about to be great, based on my dislike of seasons 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Game of Thrones, you realize you made a mistake. Welcome back.
Yes.
This week's guest, who should star in the Hound spinoff,
Is
Fireface.
Emma Willmann.
Emma Willmann, and she's not a Fireface. This the Hound is.
Yeah.
But Emma, her face is figuratively on fire because she's performing all over the place and making you laugh.
Yes.
So your face is also figuratively on fire from being in pain from laughing so hard. Bam! I
Truth.
spun it around.
She also happens to be in one of my favorite TV shows, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great show.
She's been in New York and in LA doing comedy and for a while, and always been funny, always been naturally energetic and like very engaging on stage. And also, as we talked about in this episode, spent some time with her partner in my hometown of Slidell, Louisiana recently.
Wow.
Which is insane. Listen to it, but she's, check her out on the socials, and it's fantastic. She's one of the best. And listen to this episode, which you're gonna love
Right
now. But also, go to my Instagram page.
Yeah.
Click on the link.
Yeah.
And come see myself and Cypher Sounds.
Yep.
And
Previous guest.
And a guest on this podcast, of course, and a very special guest in Easton, Pennsylvania on Friday, the 2nd of October.
Yeah. And also keep a lookout for Good God shows cropping up again shortly at the Sultan Room in Bushwick.
And also, yes, yeah, and that'll be sooner than later.
Yeah, probably next week.
And also, it's almost fucking October.
Yep.
Just think about that for a second.
Makes me want to vomit.
Makes me want to drink pumpkin coffees till I vomit.
Yep.
'Cause I love that shit. I love October. Second favorite month of the year.
It's a great month. What's your first favorite?
November. Right afterwards.
It's
back
your
to
birthday
back.
month.
Bam. All right. Check out the episode. Emma Willmann's awesome.
Yeah.
Caitlin Cook's the best. Sean Patton's fat. These are all facts. Deal with it.
You wrote timed.
Thank you. I hope, can we edit it to where the very first thing you hear on this episode is our guest go, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
And then you figure out, like, what's the compliment?
What is the compliment?
Look, you know how we fucking do on 5 Words of Podcast. This is Emma Willmann. Right in.
Yeah.
Dive right in. There's no leeway. There's no lead in. You're just here. You're now.
Well, we already did the intro.
Emma's. We already did the intro. You're here now.
I'm here now. Thank you guys for
Emma
having me.
Willmann.
I appreciate
where
it.
are you? You know what? I normally know this, and I'm ashamed. So can I have 3 guesses?
Please.
You are from Chicago, Illinois.
Nah.
Nope.
Fuck. You are from Dayton, Ohio.
Wow. No.
No, okay, I want big town to small. Okay, give me a hint.
New England.
Shit.
Yeah, see, I was going to say
Oh,
like
okay, wait.
Delaware.
All right, you
Randomly.
are from
Huh.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Kind of close.
Where?
Maine.
Maine. Okay,
Maine.
Maine.
Maine's
Way coastal, like really, really, really rural Maine, like 2,000 people. Maine.
Which,
Damn.
because
What's the
you're
town
from
called?
Maine.
Blue Hill.
Ah.
Yes, because you're from Maine, and we'll show this at the end. We have a Bob Marley mural out here in the
Oh.
yard,
Yep.
just to remind you of famous Maine comedian Bob Marley.
That is have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's he is
Huge.
huge. He's
Huge
so
in Maine.
famous in Maine. He's got this beer. So I knew of him before I knew he was a comedian. I knew about his beer. He's got a beer. Do you
Got
know
his
about the
own
beer?
That's so
He's got this
funny.
beer. It's called
Marley Mead.
Up. That would be a good title. It's called Up to Camp.
Okay.
And I remember
okay.
seeing his commercials where he'd be like, "Go up to camp," and then I learned that he was a comedian, and I think he lives in L.A. but spends some time in Maine and just sells out when he's there.
Wait, so you were like, the first time you saw him, you're like, wait, why is so the beer guy does comedy?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, kiddo, it's the other way around. The
Totally.
comedy guy does beer.
Right.
That's the.
I think about that a lot though.
information
Is
guy in
like
Maine.
who, like the ways that you're introduced to people, and then always associate them with like some random role they did. Like
Like the SVU guy. Do you know
Yes.
that comedian? I've still never seen him do comedy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Wait, there's a comedian
vaguely.
in SVU.
The guy, one of the. Oh, it's not. I want to say Stabler. It's not Stabler. It's like the older guy.
What?
What's his name? Minx. I watch the show all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
You
I
know
know
what
who
I'm
you're talking about. Yeah.
The older guy.
I mean, I know there's.
Skinny. He always like pops in. I want to use the word
I don't
sniveling,
even
but as a
know.
compliment.
I know one of the main detectives in SVU is an actor who's been in a lot of comedy stuff. He was in Wet Hot American Summer, both the TV show, and he plays
Should I look it
Gene
up?
in the TV show and the movie. Chris Elliott, not Chris Elliott, Chris something other.
Not him.
No.
It's
Not
not
him.
him.
I also know that there's like a lot of like Will Arnett played a pedo in an
Really?
episode of SVU.
He's been in fucking so many
Yeah,
weird.
Huh.
he played like a
Good for him.
He played like a Jeffrey Epstein type, like the guy you talk to to get fucking little boys in
kids.
Thailand. Yeah, and then Will
Fortunately,
Arnett.
There's an SVU episode called Comic Perversion, so I can't find it.
I saw that
yeah,
one.
Everything is like
Yeah, it's based off this true story of this comedian that like used to rape people.
Oh, gross.
But like, yeah,
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
sadly not far from the truth.
it was a while ago, and then they put it together because the girl saw him on TV and was like, "I know that voice."
Oh damn.
Yeah, this is a long time ago though.
Yeah.
But there was a comic who was on that show,
Mm-hmm.
and he played a big part.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and
I
I've
mean-
never seen him do comedy, but that's how he got his start.
I
as a
mean, do
comedian.
you
It's not
watch-
Ice-T.
Do you?
It's the guy who's always with Ice-T.
Oh yeah, you forget. Very seminal rapper. Very like you could credit with the like pushing hip hop into the like he definitely gangster rap for sure,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
but like moving hip hop along. Ice-T's like a very
Yeah.
big hip hop, and oh yeah, how's he earn his money these days? Detective on
Yeah.
TV.
Well, now I bet
Yeah.
there are like little Gen Zers who watch SVU that are like, oh, he was a rapper. Like they only
Right.
know him from that context.
Lil
Yeah,
Bow Wow
a
was
very
on
good rapper.
Lil Bow Wow was on a show
Lil Bow
playing
Wow,
a
forgot about him.
detective.
I remember. You know what's funny is I remember when I was like a 12, and I learned of Ice-T for the first time because the movie New Jack City had just come out, and one of the kids I was in high school, or not high school, I was fucking 7th grade with, was a massive Ice-T fan and hated the fact that Ice-T was in a movie because he thought Ice-T was badass. He's like, movie, you can't be, he's acting? It's bullshit. I remember not really understanding that concept, but then also finding out about Ice Cube at the same time.
Yes.
And I remember wondering, like, was that coordinated? Like,
Right.
one of them's like Ice-T, and I'm like,
Putting ice on the
I'm
map.
the Ice Cube.
The brand of ice is going up.
We're refreshing. You know? Can't have one without the other.
I see why the ice them rapping would seem maybe because all of a sudden you're like, no, if they're actors here, then were they acting when they were rapping? And then you wonder if they were tricking you.
You know, it's so interesting because, like, acting. Okay, I will never say acting's easy. I know there's levels of it and shit, but it just is interesting how acting, like, how many people from comedy to rappers to musicians to sometimes not even any, like, in The Wire, there's a couple of characters who just are actually like Snoop Pearson. That like
Wasn't originally an actor?
no, that she was originally a gangbanger.
Really?
And
Wow.
they used her as like an actor in the movie or in the TV show, and she's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Interesting. See, I didn't know that.
And
I
that's not a
haven't
real.
seen
That's
that
not a
show.
real. That's the character's name is Snoop Pearson. But point is, I'm not saying acting's easy, but it is interesting how acting is this thing where when you get big enough, people are going to be like, hey, you should do this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
Mark Maron isn't in a show called Glow if he doesn't have a huge podcast and all this success as
Yeah.
a comedian.
And he's good on that.
And he's
act-
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
good
good.
on
And
that.
he was a good actor. He was in Almost Famous, that movie, Almost Famous in like the year 2000. He's in that.
Really?
If you remember the scene where the band, the guitar, Russ
yeah.
from Stillwater, he gets electrocuted when they're at that one concert. He gets
I've
electrocuted.
smoked
so
so much.
long.
I don't smoke
Right.
pot anymore, but I've smoked so much pot in between the time of watching that and this.
Right.
But as you say it, I picture it, but I don't remember
Right.
it on my
Yeah.
own.
There's a scene where the manager they're leaving the show early because of the electrocution.
Yeah.
And there's a promoter going, you're fucking pulling the band? You guys didn't give me my 20 minutes. Close the gate on these fucks. That's Mark
That's
Maron.
Mark Maron.
And he's good. You believe he's a pissed off
So funny.
fucking booker of music in the 70s.
right.
That's so great.
And I don't know, it's just interesting how like, but everyone loves that when someone becomes an actor. But when an actor, it seems
Yes.
like whenever an actor tries to do anything else, people are like, "Fuck you,
Totally.
Yeah.
fuck you, Bruce
Totally.
Willis and your blues band."
And there's
That's
so
so
many people that
true.
are like,
It's like-
pick a lane. Like, you can't be a singer, pop star, and an actress.
Right.
It's-
Yes.
Why?
Right.
Why? It's very odd.
Politicians, however, I feel like that's the one thing you could do if you're just an actor. You can either stay an actor or get into politics.
Oh, I would like to see a politician get into acting
Uh,
and music
they
later
are
on.
all-
I bet
they're
they could
doing
do it.
constantly.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah, they
Yeah.
could do it.
They could do it, but
yeah.
that'd be incriminating.
Yes.
Because it'd be like, it's because so much of it is charisma. They're like, oh, you got charisma here, can you have charisma there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it. But I don't understand how people that have no acting background, just memorizing those lines is so hard.
It's
I
hard,
would
dude.
love to see Barack Obama
Acting.
as an
Oh
like, just
my
like,
God, yeah.
like an acting career.
What do you think he'd, like,
I think he'd fucking kill it.
Yeah.
Like see him playing like a pimp in like a
Yeah.
70s biopic. You know what I'm saying? Or like I think he would either have to be the bad guy
Right.
yeah.
or like a leading man.
Sure.
God, it would fuck with
Like a
everyone's heads
heartthrob?
to see him as the bad guy, though.
A heart.
I
He
could
is
kinda
a
see that.
heartthrob. Yeah.
No, but I could definitely see him as like the rogue FBI agent.
Oh, that I could
Yeah.
see.
Who they're
yeah.
like-
yeah.
And because like his voice, which I can't do, is this sound like?
He
Does
sounds
this sound
more
like
George
Obama?
W. Bush.
Who?
Right. W.
George, this sounds like W. Bush.
Not
Have you ever
now
heard
anymore.
W. Bush speak? Because I don't think it was this. I don't think it was this. Hi, it's me, Barack Obama. But well, imagine him playing like a redneck, a black guy raised in the South,
That'd be cool.
and he's like
Yeah.
a farmer. There he
That'd be
is.
cool.
I'm just throwing this out there. Barack, fucking go on some auditions.
Right. Get out there, buddy. Do you think he'd have to audition? They'd just give him the part.
I think
Yeah,
it would
they
be
would just
interesting
give him
just to
the part.
see him. He'd be the only person to show up to an audition with Secret Service.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
Right.
And they'd feel like we should probably just give him the part. He's got men with guns.
What a power trip for the casting person to audition Barack Obama.
I know. And be like, well, this unknown actor is like really good.
Right.
But
At least SVU.
yeah.
He could definitely get on fucking Law and Order.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet he could. He'd
can do whatever
probably
he
be
wants.
uncannily good.
Yeah.
I mean, he could also probably get a Netflix special.
You think comedy?
I feel like.
What Obama doing stand up?
What president do you think would have the best if they were forced to do if they only had 1 year to get ready, and they had an hour of stand up? Do you think it would be Trump?
I think it would be George W. Bush, to be
You
honest.
think?
Yeah.
You think he'd take it seriously and get into it? Really?
I think if like, because I think Trump would get too much on a power trip and too cocky, and shit would just be too self-congratulatory.
Well, Trump is hilarious
His
if you take
timing is-
away how
yeah.
much he's hurting people. Like he makes no sense.
Right.
But so was Bush. Bush actually won the nomination and the election because he was like a charming.
Yeah.
Right.
And like if you remember in the Bush versus Kerry town hall debate, one of the first ones, John Kerry was going off about all these private businesses that George W. Bush owned, lumber yards or something. And I remember this because I hated Bush at the time,
Yeah.
but I still laughed at this where he was like, "I own a lumber yard? I didn't know that. Y'all want some wood? I say y'all some wood. I'll do it right now." And it was like funny, and you're like,
Right.
fuck you for making me laugh. But he had that natural sort of like, I don't, and you know, enough comedians have covered this, but go back and watch George W. Bush. He was just a bumbling fucking ding-a-ling.
Sure.
And I think Mike Birbiglia has the bit about it where it was like he probably is a pretty cool guy. If he weren't the world leader, you'd probably be like, you're all right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He'd be goofy.
He's the one president who was just like, I'm going to paint.
He does finger painting
Yeah,
at his
finger-
mom's
yeah.
house.
It's like,
But
fucking-
it's still so crazy how Trump has put him into this position of we're like, oh, W, just like a
Right.
bumbling. He's still,
Right.
crazy war criminal.
Right.
But,
Oh, yeah. George W. Bush
but
was
now
a
we're like,
shitty
oh, he
president.
just painted.
But just a shitty president, not a. I feel like George W. Bush was a
Yeah.
shitty president, not a terrible person. Whereas Trump's just horse shit.
But
Yeah.
Dick Cheney, I think, was probably pretty evil.
Yeah.
And Dick Cheney
was
did.
super evil.
Dick Cheney ran the country
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
second term anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to know a fucking secret?
Please.
I mean, I've told you
Let's
this.
hear
but
it.
then,
I don't remember.
like the first time I was old enough to vote, it was in the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I voted for Bush
Oh, yeah, I did know
no
that.
judgments.
because I was a kid. I was a dumb
and
fucking
growing
kid.
up in Louisiana.
Grew up in Louisiana, but I was a pretty progressive kid my whole life. My like immediate family was pretty progressive. I just didn't. I remember just like basing it on personality.
Really?
And being like, I think this Gore guy's kind of a fucking noob.
He
And
would
I-
be the worst at stand-up.
I liked.
He
He
would
would
be
be
so
bad
at
He has
stand-up.
no charisma.
He would be maybe. I bet Obama would be really good.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm
But
actually-
I
I
think
don't know if
Obama
it's
would crush it.
I think if Obama and Trump, but I don't know if I'm just saying that because they're the most recent in my brain.
Yeah.
Like I,
mean,
could see Kerry having a late night talk show. and be
Clinton.
a little, like-
Clinton would
yeah,
have
he
been.
would
Oh,
be good.
yeah.
Yeah, Clinton
he
would
would
be
be good.
Yeah, when I for the second election in 2004, I voted so hard for Kerry because I was trying to erase the mistakes of voting for
Right.
Bush.
How do you
Right.
vote so hard? Do you
I
just,
just
like, push it?
You went
pushed
in
that
there.
fucking button hard.
Yeah, right.
Said a little prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then I voted extra hard for Obama,
Sure.
which is just I got a little teary eyed.
That was
I forced myself
my
to cry.
first election
Not really.
that I could vote in.
And then I didn't
And
vote the
I-
second time.
Was a college
he had
student
it.
in Ohio, and that was the state that won him the election. So we went
Really?
crazy.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I felt like
We
I like
appreciate
really
that.
did something. And then we smoked a lot of Obama bowls, which
Yep.
is just a bowl that we called an Obama bowl.
Yep.
And we got really high and danced. It was great.
I cried at that too, or
Yeah.
I remember crying.
Well, I didn't actually cry, but I did vote. And then the first black person I saw after voting, I was just like nodded. Like, hey man, you and me, brother. It's so fucking stupid. 2008. You know what a dumbass I was.
What an innocent
Still to this
time.
day, I'm gonna look back. There could be a super cut of me being like, 2000, what an idiot. 2004,
Right,
I was
right,
such
right.
an asshole.
Right.
Like 2026, what a noob.
What was I
Just
thinking?
keeps going.
You at 94.
My dying words. 2074. Can you
Finally
believe
got
how
it together.
stupid I was?
I have a friend, John, who used to always come with me to comedy shows, and he moved out of New York, but he used to always come with me to comedy shows when I would be hosting at the Cellar, and we'd be like, he would always want to come down and watch you, and
Oh.
he would say he's like you never know what he's gonna do in a way where it's like it's just always something new and different, and he would say it like it's the most fun to watch.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'd always be like, I love watching Sean too, and he would be like, yeah, and then we would always go down, or he'd say, oh, is he on? And it was always like fun, and we would like wiggle down and go watch you.
Oh, awesome.
So
That's
I wanted
nice.
to tell
That's
you
great.
that.
That's
yeah.
cute.
Well, where's John? You know, I should send you your check.
Yeah, right.
I should just wherever John is. You know what, John? Whatever he's doing with his life, you should coach audience members. start a
Yes.
start a business where you coach audience members.
Because we would never
to
know
get
the
it.
set you were gonna do, and it would always be different stuff, and you would sell it like you were in it. Like,
You have to be.
like it was, but it was like you were just on stage. It was like you were just thinking of it on the spot. Was how it felt watching it 'cause you were
that's-
so in
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Committed.
That's fun.
Very much commits to
Committed.
the
That's fun. I do
Godfrey
commit.
would do that too. But it was like every time you guys were like in your shit.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's one good thing I can say about myself for sure is like whenever I'm like super scared on stage or whenever I say something where I'm like I don't know where this is going, my only instinct and my only choice every time is like, well, just triple down on it.
Yeah.
Mm.
At least then if you bomb, it could bomb so hard that it'll be funny. 'Cause
Totally.
sometimes something bombs hard enough, it's actually hilarious.
Right.
And if it works, people will think you're fucking great because you were so confident. But know that half the time I'm like, oh fuck, here we go.
Really?
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. But
Because
then
I'll
like,
get like meek if I'm like I don't know where this is going. I'll kind of like trail off with it, and then I'll try to like move my mouth away or muffle it. Like it's not like the punchline that sucked. You
Yeah.
just didn't hear me say it, even though I know it's probably that wasn't very good.
dude, there's
so
actually
interesting.
there-
Try to be tricky.
Mm-hmm.
there's a number of comedians who I love. That I actually early on when I moved here, there's a number of comedians who I love who are funny fucks who are all successful in other forms. Like, well, not in other forms. None of them are like full-time stand-ups really anymore, but they're all like writers on TV shows.
Sure.
Or like, authors. They're all doing fucking, they're all
Something.
successful. But the one thing I picked up from watching all these people, and I'm not saying any names because I just feel bad, but like they were always the people who would do that thing where you could, the idea was funny.
Yeah.
Right.
But they just couldn't, they didn't have that commitment.
Right.
So like they would just kind of half sell it, and you'd be like, God, if you only said that with just a little more conviction, it would have killed. But
Totally,
because, and I love getting in conversations with hardcore comedy snobs about this, but it's a 50-50 writing and delivery.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Delivery is just as important, if not more, in some
Yeah.
situations.
I remember there was this one
Yeah.
guy watching in Boston. He's such a good writer. He's so good. And I remember watching him, and I was like, if I had 5 minutes of that, that could be milked into my best hour. I was
Yeah.
like, I could sell that 5 minutes and stretch it, and it'd be like, that's the best 5 minutes she's ever written.
Yeah.
Was
you
that,
know?
wait, is that where you started?
Boston, yeah.
What a fucking
Boston turns
scene.
out the best comics. I think it's because
Boston?
it's so
I
hard
love
and people are
Boston.
so mean.
They are pretty mean.
Boston and Chicago have a similarity there, where
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's full of highly intelligent fucking lushes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like it's
Girl.
it's full of complete like degenerate pricks with high IQs.
Right.
So you've got to like quickly get them on your side
And
Yeah.
they're cold a lot of the
and
time.
then
Yes.
keep them engaged intellectually while shout or being commanding enough on stage to fucking keep their attention because they're all hammered.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
all fucking 8 beers in and pissed off about whatever sports team is winning or
Is
losing. that
Chicago
night.
like that too?
Chicago's exactly
Oh,
like
I
that.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Chicago is I've often said to myself, I've never said this out loud, but I've often said to myself that Chicago is simultaneously the hardest and easiest place to kill.
Really?
Because if you are intelligent enough and you can fucking hold your ground on stage, they respect that.
Right.
But it all like no one in Chicago is, in my experience, there's no morons.
Huh.
Those all even the loud heckly dumb shits will that was you were using a multi-syllabic word, dipshit. It's not syllabic, it's syllabic. You're like, oh fuck, did I just get heckled by
Right.
the guy who corrected how I said a word that I've been saying multi-syllabic this whole time? The fuck is wrong with me? And Boston's similar. Boston, I've definitely done shows in Boston where like you're watching the comic before you, who's maybe not as present on stage, and you're like, oh, they are devouring
Yeah.
this motherfucker,
Yep.
and I'm up next.
Right. Did you ever do a room called The Burn?
The Burn?
The Burn.
Oh no.
It was a bar, but they had it. The comedy would go on after. It was like Irish bingo or something.
Oh
So
God.
people are sloshed, and then
Oh,
they would start the
no.
comedy show as people were leaving that, and they would be like dressed in gear. What's like the skirts and stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
The Irish
Am I getting Irish confused with something?
Scottish
Scottish. Son of a bitch.
kilts.
Kilts.
Yes.
I need to get smarter and better and know my things.
I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, an Irish guy just shows an Irish and a Scot just barge out here and beat the
Right.
shit out of both of
Right.
us.
I remember
Oops.
when I was younger thinking that their accents sounded the same to me, and I
I
couldn't
appreciate
distinguish
that.
between the two.
Yeah,
I
thanks. I
love
appreciate
that.
the
Thank you.
idea of fucking
They're so different to
Scottish
my
bingo.
ears
Like,
now.
all right, the next letter, it's B. Go fuck yourself. Why do I have to call out all the fucking letters? Decide for yourself what it is. And then they just fight.
So drunk, and they
Yeah.
would be in their gear, and
Yeah.
then they would have you do
Their gear, their Scott gear,
the Scott gear. That's the outfit thing.
Yeah. the kilts.
Kilts. That's what it is.
And then you'd have to go up and do comedy and a bunch of fucking drunk
Ooh.
Scots.
And they'd be leaving, and then the other people would be coming in, but the ones that were really drunk would still be there, like milling around. And I remember they would kind of like yell sometimes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't think it's. I think, especially like, I feel like this is actually weaned a little bit over the past 5 or 6 years. But like, there were so many instances of like, bar owners just being like, comedy, you can put it anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got? We got a raffle, a cover band, then we'll do a comedy show, and then there'll be the burlesque. Makes sense.
Perfect.
It's gonna go perfect. The comedy people are they're ready to laugh. God, the amount of times I've shown up to something where I'm like, why the fuck are we about to do a comedy show at this birthday party?
Yeah.
Amen.
You
Yeah.
know, now we're everywhere. There's 90 people who all know each other.
Right.
And they
Why
wanna
are we
talk.
separated?
Yeah.
No, they
Right.
want to laugh. Like, they are laughing at each
Right.
other.
Yeah.
Right.
At the years of history they have together.
Right.
I always thought it was funny that burlesque seems to follow comedy a lot of the time, and I'm like, there's just a bunch of horny men here. Like,
Yeah, it's tough to compete with that.
Yes,
Really tough.
a really good joke versus tits.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't.
Right.
I don't know if burlesque shows have so much horny men as they do women figuring out how gay they are.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn, I noticed that.
Yeah.
In Lower East Side
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Brooklyn, it's like an art. It's like an
Yeah.
art thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's where I've done them. But I don't know
Yeah.
what burlesque is like in other cities. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I was part of this at the Edinburgh Fringe. I was part of this like cabaret lineup that I did, and I was doing like musical comedy stuff, but then there was someone doing like full on burlesque where they were covered in balloons, and then they popped the different balloons, and then were naked at the end. And
Wow.
there was just like a lot of, there was like a serpent person. There was like a lot of things going on this lineup.
Now, someone that does that, where does that lead? Not
no
that I have any
idea.
game plan for myself. I'm just curious what they're thinking.
Yeah. I don't know.
Dita Von Teese.
Yeah.
I know that name.
It's like that kind of stuff. Like that. Well, she's like a burlesque clown /
Yeah.
ringmaster. Like she does a whole thing. It's like
Yeah.
a
That's
whole.
like the goal, probably.
I guess it's like, because there's definitely not like a. There's no. Well, here, interestingly enough, stand-up comedy started with burlesque.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Usually, the host was the thing. The host was a comedian.
Yeah.
Would tell jokes while the women were changing or set.
Oh,
that-
right. Like they used to have, or be like a comedian would like be with like Frank Sinatra or like that type of thing.
I mean,
Like-
no, this predates that even.
Oh.
This was like I think this is even like pre-vaudeville.
Wow.
Would be like like the host, the MC or
Yeah.
whatever, would tell jokes and make people laugh and do crowd work, so no one would pay attention to sets being changed or
Huh.
women changing
Yeah,
and
just
and
keep
then
the audience's
here's the next
attention.
one,
Yeah.
Right.
Lucy Lips Laney,
Right.
and then and then I'm pretty sure, and then that turned into vaudeville, and then then it became like Vegas, Rat Pack,
Yeah.
Don Rickles.
Yeah.
And then I did years ago, I did this club that is closed now, but it was the worst fucking comedy club on the planet.
Ooh.
It was called the Comedy Stop inside of the Tropicana in Atlantic City. The most depressing.
rough.
Say no more.
Yeah.
I mean, because Vegas is tough, and then Atlantic City is
Yeah.
I
Someone
can't,
should say
anything I
that-
can think to say is so mean that I don't want to incriminate myself. But like, Atlantic City is so fucking brutal.
Well, okay, Vegas, I've done a couple of things, but I've done the Cellar the most in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that was fucking great because at least you breathe some life into Vegas. At least has life. It
Yeah.
feels alive. We're
And I
like-
love the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the landscape.
And all
I
the
like
weed.
Vegas. Yeah.
But like fucking Atlantic City, some Russian or Chinese billionaire needs to step in and save that place because it's but the club was just but I worked with there was a guy who hosted whose name was Cork Proctor,
Nice.
What a name.
and
What a
the
name.
best joke he told. I mean, he was
Is he
old.
still around?
He lives in he retired to Peru
Okay. Okay.
because apparently you can retire to Peru with 80 grand
Huh.
and live for 20 years. But he was a very nice older guy, but he was like in his
Proctor.
70s, and he was from that 70s, in his 70s, but came up in 70s Vegas, opening for Elvis impersonators and shit, right? Cork Proctor. And if whenever someone was like, "Is that your real name?" He'd be like, "Yes, it is. Cork, short for Cork Staniel, or Corkathin." Or he just every time it was something different. It was real fucking dumb, but
Would he wear a suit?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm picturing.
The question you should ask there, Emma, was, did he ever not wear a suit?
Right.
Because I don't know. But he was the sweetest. He would get on stage and do things like, "All right, folks, let's all say the F word together, okay? Foreclosure. Remember, financial responsibility. You got to stay on top of that, folks. Who owns a home?" It would be stuff like
Oh my God.
it wasn't even bits. It was like one thing he had was like, my wife, it was a standard "my wife just left me" joke kind of.
Right.
I don't remember what it was, but then it would go into, "And remember, folks, infidelity just tears people apart. So temptation's gonna come and it's gonna go, but just know you love the one you're with. That's all you could really hope for." And you're like, watching this where you're like, I can't boo any of this. It's good advice.
Would people laugh at it?
People would clap. It was a
Right.
lot of like, oh,
Right.
you're right, sir. You remind me of my
Oh, my
grandfather.
God.
And then I would have to go up and they'd be like, what is, who? Oh, you remind me of my autistic nephew. Fuck. You know, it was
It's
brutal.
I'd say
Brutal
Atlantic
shows.
City is some of the most depressed. Because I was only there one weekend, but it was. I remember I was on this place. There was like a stripper pole behind me, and then the night it was so tough was I was in a relationship with someone, and it was her birthday, and she was like, "I'm gonna come to Atlantic City that weekend with my friends," and I was like, "No, don't. I'll
yeah.
figure something else out." And then they all came to that one show,
Oh,
and then
God.
also this pharmaceutical sales team that was doing a
No.
training came, and I just remember being on stage like. You know, I should have paid more attention in college. I remember thinking that. I wish I had a different career counselor.
What
like
the
those
fuck did
type of
I do?
thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's the funny thing about when your friends are like, we're all going to come to a show. It's like,
I
why?
wouldn't do that
Why
about
are you
you.
doing that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell? And then you're promoting it, and then you're like, but don't come.
Yeah. I want
Everyone come.
strangers to laugh
Yeah,
at my
Right.
jokes.
strangers
Right.
only.
Right.
Yeah.
That should actually be the name of a tour. Like the
Strangers
Strangers
Only.
Only comedy tour.
Yeah.
Like, if you know me, don't come.
Yeah, stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Or sit in the back only.
Please.
God, that was a fucking. No, yeah, I'm going to sit up front. You can roast me. I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to.
I don't want
I
to
don't wanna
roast you,
see
Aunt
you.
Becky.
Right. I don't want
Yeah.
to see you. I don't want the recognition.
What's-
You see me, you see me, and then now
Yeah.
it's all a snag.
My mom is actually great about that when they come to shows. They sit where she's like, I sit. I want you to think I'm hiding. She'll never sit anywhere near the front. They always like, nope, in the back, in the shadows.
My girlfriend said, so my girlfriend's from Slidell. She said
Mhm.
you did. She goes, I know, because when we went by Patton's, I go, I know a comedian in New York whose last name is Patton. And she was like, Sean. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And she goes, he used to do comedy at our high school. And I said, let me tell you. I said, do you know how fucking hard that is to do at your own high school?
What, Slido High?
To
Did you do comedy
comedy
there?
at your own high school?
I
She said you did a talent show.
I did do like a yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's tough.
It wasn't like stand up though. It was like sketches. A bunch of
Okay.
us did, but it was still like
Yeah.
It was like comedy. It was still like, hey, I'm saying lines and performing, but like not. But that was back when it was like I want to do this, but what is this?
Right.
You know, and like I want to do this, but what is it even?
Yeah.
And I did that. I mean, I've also like one of my first ever paying gigs was at Nunez Community College in Chalmette, Louisiana.
I know where Chalmette is.
You know where Chalmette
No,
is?
yeah.
And I got booked by a guy after an open mic in the city. He was like, he booked, and I was like, oh, it's a college gig.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is fucking amazing. And when I showed up, it was a community talent show,
No.
and I was the headliner. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And the act right before me was the Lacoste Elementary 7th grade bell choir.
No.
Did they kill it?
I mean,
Did they bury you?
Bell. I mean, those were my funeral bells
Right.
because I died.
Oh, my
No,
God.
I did all right, but it was still like, what the who? Point being, that guy was like, oh, this loudmouth, foul-mouthed comedian
Right.
should be on this community talent program. But there was so much shit like that early on. But yeah, Slidell, Louisiana, the Staten Island of New Orleans. That's how I refer to it, where I went to high school and grew up ultimately. Yeah, like there's the fact that you spent. Why were you there again? Because she went to high
4
school.
months because my girlfriend's from there, and
Yeah.
after Katrina, she lost her house, so she bought a house.
Right.
It was like I never want to not have a house, so she bought this house, and then she rents it out on Airbnb. So when Corona happened, she wanted to go there so she could work on the house. So we were there for 4-ish
At
months.
the beginning of the
4.
pandemic?
Yeah.
That's
So we
crazy.
kept driving
Months.
by Patton's.
Patton's, yeah.
But I noticed that when I was there, like visiting, like
Yeah.
before the pandemic, I went for like a weekend to New Orleans, and we
Yeah.
go by, and that's when I was like, because it says like it's like Patton's, it's a
Yeah.
big sign.
Yeah. Plug for the listeners, for the legends. If you're ever in Slidell, Louisiana, and looking for a venue to throw your wedding
Yeah.
wedding reception,
Yeah, or big
that's
ass party.
my family's business.
Looks lovely.
It's a catering company. They do great stuff. They invented the crawfish sack.
Really?
If you've
What's
been
a
to
crawfish sack?
It's a dish they serve at Jazz Fest, which is a delicious. It's a French crepe with a family secret recipe crawfish stuffing, tied up with a green onion to look like a
Huh.
little sack.
Is it
Flash
spicy?
fried? Can be.
Huh.
If you want it spicy, they'll make it spicy. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's real good.
and I ate thousands of them as a kid and hated them, and now would I don't even know. I'd chop
anything?
down that tree with my fucking forehead to get some of those. No, but like, I mean, they're delicious. But like, yeah, like that's 4 months. I haven't spent 4 months straight in Slidell, Louisiana since the 20th century.
Damn,
Yeah.
dude.
Since the 90s. The fact that you that's
4 months, and it gets even weirder because she wants to go back there because our lease in LA is up. So she was like, "Why don't we go back to Slidell and then figure out if we want to be in New York or LA?" But I was like, I don't know how much more Slidell I can do.
Yeah.
You just can't like my sister lives there, my parents still live there.
Lovely place.
My other siblings live
Love
in New
New
Orleans.
Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah, New
Love
Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans is a half-hour drive. It's
Yeah.
right the fuck
Yeah.
there.
It's really nice.
But
I like Slidell.
It's
just not conducive
there's
necessarily.
nothing you can do if you're staying in Slidell other than drink at one strip of bars.
Yeah.
Right.
Old Town Slidell, holler.
Which can
Yeah.
you do that now?
I bet they're open-ish.
They're pretty open. There's some
Yeah.
place that's where I had a it's not a po' boy. What's a
I mean, po'
sandwiches?
boy's
Is it a po' boy?
Po' boy's the sandwich.
Okay, that's what I had
Yeah.
then, and I couldn't. It was
Not-
so good, but I couldn't. It wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't good for me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's not.
It was
yeah,
like-
you're not. Don't eat one after running a marathon
Yeah.
or while trying to lose any kind of weight.
I ate it, and it was like it was like French fries, pork.
Oh, you went to a
shrimp.
place called KY's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
is
it was like a former ice cream shop or something.
Yeah.
That was intense.
I mean, yeah, it's like the food in Louisiana as a whole is pretty fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
it was good.
But not good for you.
I didn't feel right. I didn't feel right. Like it
Yeah.
was like, and it was so good once I ate it. I didn't have the impulse control to stop.
Mhm.
But it was like, man, I gained weight just in that
Oh, yeah.
sandwich eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always
can feel it.
interesting too, because like I go back home. I don't know. I mean, during normal years or non-pandemic
probably like
years,
3 times
maybe
a year.
at least 3 times a
Yeah.
year, and I would spend of the week I'd be home, or I'd spend 25% of the time in Slidell, visiting my parents,
Right.
visiting my sister and my nieces. And like, like there is a level of me as an older person who looks back and is like, man, these little things I didn't appreciate about being a fucking teenager here. But then, like, if you're in any way in the creative world or a comic or which is the most creative, but like, you can't fucking stay there for very long.
No.
I mean, truly.
It
Yeah.
is the kind of thing.
Truly.
Because it is a suburb. It is,
Yeah.
and it is far enough away from the city where you're like, I can't. Because there are suburbs, I think every city has this, that are close enough to the city where it's like, I could live here. It's
Sure.
a 15-minute drive.
Right.
Yeah.
And LA is kind of like that. LA is sort of like a city that just has suburbs plopped into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Because
know?
everything's a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, Louisiana, like I know the people of Baton Rouge or Lafayette are gonna hate this one, but like if you're in Louisiana, the only place to be is New Orleans. It's just the only true cultural like machine. And I get it, Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is a bigger city and it's the state capital. But if it doesn't have LSU in the title, no one gives a fuck. That's the problem with that sort of thing, where you're like, yes, Baton Rouge is a big city, and it's got some beautiful stuff, and it's on the river just like New Orleans, and it's just as old, and it's beautiful. Problem is, it's so fucking, I love my LSU football / basketball /
They fucking
baseball
love
/
LSU.
whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it's like, it doesn't matter. Everything else just gets swallowed up by that, whereas New Orleans is like, no, this is a
I love New
world-class
Orleans.
city.
Is
And
awesome.
Lafayette was nice.
Lafayette's a dope city.
But let me
it's
tell you,
yeah.
no one's wearing a mask in Lafayette, though.
Of course not.
Because we went
That's
there.
the line. Yeah.
Whoa! I was
Yeah.
like, I felt the social pressure to not wear a mask, and I
Ooh,
kept
wow.
wearing it. But I was
Yeah.
like, I already felt like I was standing out, and everyone's going by in their little golf carts and polo shirts,
Yeah.
no masks.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Weird. It
Yeah.
was, and this was the height of it. We
Yeah.
went there to. She wanted to show it to me. We went there, and I was like, "There's no masks."
Yeah. That's uncomfy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I don't like that.
the more west you get in Louisiana, the more like western Louisiana and eastern Texas are the stereotypes of both states. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So like they smooch and love one another, but like they really like, because I feel like you go to like Houston or Austin, those are fucking, even Dallas, those are fucking massive cities that are gonna be like, hey, wear a mask, asshole,
Right.
or
Yeah.
Right.
hey, at least try and be fucking respectful. But like you get to East Texas, like Beaumont and shit, you start to get a little more Texan, a little more America, a little more fucking, man, hey, Bush ain't in office no more.
Right.
And they get the Arabs out too, right?
Right.
And Trump's still in though, right? Great, that's
Right.
great, motherfucker.
Sound like my grandma.
But then you cross the
grandma's
state line in Louisiana. It's the same guy. Like, oh yeah, man, Trump's still up in there.
Right.
Hell yeah. And you're
Right.
like, fuck, you two, shut up.
Totally.
But then by the time you get to because Baton Rouge is still a college city, but it's just not New Orleans.
and Lafayette was gorgeous.
Lafayett's a beautiful.
Gorgeous.
That's the swamp. That's that like when you think of like Creole Louisiana. That's Lafayette. But like, even the way you're saying it's very, very like, oh, you're not from there, are you?
Not at all.
Lafayette.
I
How
felt
does your
so.
mom say it? Lafayette?
My mom would say Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
My mom's got the essential Ninth Ward New Orleans accent.
Is that where she grew up?
Yeah. It's,
Really?
It's just thick New Orleans, darling, Sean.
Yeah.
And you don't have it,
Caitlin.
but you don't have it at all.
If I talk to her for like, when I go home, it comes back real hard.
When I go home to his family, I start adopting a drawl.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm surrounded by it.
My
Right,
siblings are the
right.
same way. They don't. None of them really have
Elise
it
has
until
one.
they start talking to my mom.
Or if like you
It's
have a drink.
infectious.
Because
Like,
sometimes
yeah.
in Maine there'd be when everyone would start drinking, then the Maine accent would
What
come
is
out.
the
Maine
Maine
accent?
accent?
You drop the R's, so instead of saying lobster, you'd be like lobster,
Okay.
like that.
Oh, is it like the New England, like the fact I saw like R's sometimes replace W's.
And slower, so it'd be slower, a little slower and softer than Boston.
Wait, speaking of Maine, like 2 years ago now, I did shows in Portland, Maine.
Love Portland.
It is
It's awesome. I
the
like it.
dopest.
Yeah.
It's really nice
And
there.
and I think Portland, Oregon gets all the glamour, but Portland,
does
Maine
get all the
is
glamour.
fucking like I love Portland, Oregon.
Me too.
But Portland, Oregon has a certain amount of manufacturedness to it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? People move to Portland to get, and they want to get the tattoos, and they want to ride the bikes
Right.
everywhere, and get the piercings, and they watch Portlandia, and while they're like, that's not really how it is, they kind of want it to be that
Right.
way, and they want to be in bands, and I love Portland, but like I feel like Portland, Maine is just like pirates, pirates, and I made beer because I couldn't make anything else, like they're just, and like I only eat oysters because I spent so much time at sea, I developed an allergy to plant-based, to land food. I don't know why I'm just doing fucking pirates again, but it almost felt like Portland, Oregon is in some way inspired by Portland, Maine.
And I think Portland, Maine was actually named after Portland, Oregon.
Right,
And then
okay.
we twisted it. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's what it was.
But like, because they're similar. They
Right.
have similar vibes.
And Portland, Maine's gotten more
Yeah.
popular now because people have been moving there, but still not. It's not like a destination in the same. It is popular. Or if you're in the state of Maine, that's the city you go to before Boston.
I feel like if you're in Portland, Oregon, and you see someone with an owl tattoo, they're probably a graphic designer, or they like make, or they're like, they definitely play in a band, and they probably like make hemp-based clothing, and they're cool. They're a cool person.
sure.
You like them. But
Right.
if you see a person in Portland, Maine, with an owl tattoo, it's because they were actually born on a fucking fishing vessel, and their only friend was an owl
Absolutely, they
who
were
would
raised by
hang out there
owls.
at night.
Right.
It was it was like I got the tattoo after my friend Shirley.
An owl made the tattoo.
I
Your
don't know.
best friend Shirley. Who's
Shirley
now-
the owl. I don't know why I keep giving
It
Portland,
kind of works though.
This is
Like,
how we
I can
talk.
see it.
but God, I fucking loved it. Like that downtown, that whole it's
And the
beautiful.
old port, and I did a
Beautiful.
show in Portland, Maine, and the local comics were so funny, and I was shocked because they can't get up very much. But
Yeah.
this one guy
Yeah.
had a thick Maine accent, and it was very like inside Maine baseball. And Maine lobstering's a big thing, and he was talking about the way the different lobstermen waved at each other. But it was so not something he could do in many places, but it was so funny.
Yeah.
and it was like a treat.
Oh,
I wish
that's
the
nice.
name of the place I performed at,
Was it Empire,
Empire.
or something? That's where I was
Empire.
too. Yeah,
Empire.
it was cool.
Awesome venue, but it was above this Chinese restaurant that
Huh.
had Kung Pao lobster.
Mm.
Would you ever eat food where you suddenly get angry at everything you've ever eaten before
It
that?
was that good.
Where you're just like, fuck all other foods.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is bullshit that I'm not only eating this every day.
Yes, I feel that way when I eat McDonald's sometimes. But then I get sick.
That's how I like. I mean, McDonald's. Hey, look, I'm not saying Caitlin and I didn't just do an 11-hour drive where we stopped and got a bunch of nuggets.
Isn't it
Yeah.
so good?
It's
so good when you're
And I
eating
didn't grow
it.
up eating fast food, but occasionally when we're on the road touring, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I want some nuggets.
It's so good,
Some
but then you
nuggets.
feel sick.
Yeah.
Did you feel sick after Kung
For
Pao?
several days. Oh no.
I got a little sick after we got Kung Pao lobster. No, I felt better. I felt younger.
Really?
I felt
Really?
like in fact, you have to go.
I felt younger.
You have to go to the second floor to get to Empire. I just jumped. I just jumped up
Wow.
and grabbed,
Nice.
pulled through the window. I was super strength.
Huh?
It was so good. But no, McDonald's chicken nuggets,
Mm.
Wendy's single cheeseburgers,
Mm.
Burger King fries,
Mm.
Taco Bell bean burritos. If I that's my like all-star fast food
It's
team.
so good because
That's my
they've got it down so packed to keep you just consuming it.
Oh, yeah.
and it works.
Yeah, that's my like. If I was ever just like, if I was ever had money to just throw like a fuck you health party, that would be the buffet.
We should have a fuck you health
A
party.
fuck you health
Yeah.
party.
That's when you get a bunch of money. That's what you want to have.
Fuck you health.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's drinking double IPAs.
Right. When I make it,
There's cocaine for the kids, and then look, nuggets over there. There's a bean burrito fountain. You know, there's a chocolate fountain.
Ew.
What do you-
Imagine a
what are
fucking
you
bean-
celebrating? Fucking to fuck you to all things healthy. Then.
Yeah,
Now, that sounds healthy.
I'm living by saying fuck you to shit that keeps me alive.
I still want to throw a pajama jam where everyone wears their pajamas, a bunch of musicians show up and jam, and then
Mm.
people bring assorted jams and jellies.
That's a good
for
idea.
Spreads.
That's
yeah.
fun. Lot healthier than your idea.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, we can do them both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be our birthday parties one year.
All right.
Where it's like, oh, after Caitlin's birthday party, I really developed a taste for rhubarb. I learned how to play the bass, and silk just is great
Yeah.
to sleep
and
in.
after
Sean,
Sean's birthday
I got
party,
it. Yeah.
I got a heart attack.
Yeah, this is so had my first double bypass, but it
Yeah.
was fun.
It was fun.
The bean burrito fountain,
it.
the bean dip fountain. I would actually like. We're all saying gross, but I would.
That'd be cool.
The idea of dipping chocolate or no chocolate, because I'm a savory guy. I've never been. That's the one thing I will say about my unhealthy fuck health party. There will be no sweets there.
Really?
Savory. I'm
Not
savory
even a
guy.
chocolate covered pretzel?
No, not even one. Oh, no,
Really?
no. There will just be one.
For you.
There will just be one.
And it will have
You
a
have to
little,
find it.
little tag on it that says "Just for Emma."
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Just
appreciate
for
that.
Emma. That's only. Don't touch the one.
Yeah.
No cookies?
No donuts.
I mean, I like
That's-
these
donuts
things,
are fuck
but
you
I
health.
also. Okay, this is
You're
the fun.
not the only person at this. But what if Sean just
It's
throws
Yeah, what
a
about other
party for
people?
Party,
himself
though.
and nobody else?
Here's the thing. This is this silly twist on me being a pudgy, is that like sweets. I can't. I eat like 2 or 3 bites of a sweet. And I'm like, I'm done. I've never been a sweets person. But you put like a bowl, like tuna mac or like
Nachos?
nachos,
Oh, I love
anything
nachos.
savory.
Love
I
nachos.
am powerless against it.
I get it.
But like,
getting hungry now.
you can have
Me
all
too.
the fucking ice cream and cake in the world, and I'll be like, I'll have a couple bites.
Really?
Even if I'm starving, I'm like, I'll have 2 cookies. I
It
just
doesn't do something to your brain because when I get sugar in my brain, I want more sugar.
Yeah.
When I get
I feel the
sugar
same
in
way.
my brain, it goes, this is enough.
Really?
When I get salt in my brain, it's like,
More.
now we got more room.
I love salt.
Salt is
I'm a
good.
savory person.
One time I ate road salt as a kid because I love
Road
salt so much.
What
Yeah.
the hell is that?
It's like the salt. Oh, I guess they don't have it in Louisiana. And so in Maine, they.
Oh,
where are
the
you
kind of
from?
Salt, LA, but it's
Okay,
the
so
salt
they
that they
wouldn't-
put when
Yeah,
it
they-
snows.
When
right?
it snows, you put salt on the road, and there was a
Oh.
big bin of it. And I remember seeing it. And it just says salt on it. I'm sure it said road salt too, but I just saw salt. I took it. and I was eating it, and then I was in class, and I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And then I told my teacher I ate some of the salt, and it was the road salt. I had to go home. I had to go to the hospital. It was like a whole thing.
Now this is, you were a
Damn.
senior?
No, this,
Like, I, was,
was-
I
think
couldn't
I was in, like,
graduate.
6th grade. Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's
What's
crazy.
in it that's bad to eat?
It's just chemical, so I don't think they
Oh,
should call it
shit.
salt.
No,
I
they
don't know if
shouldn't
it's like
call it
called salt
Yeah.
symbolically or
Yeah.
something,
Well,
but
also,
it tastes
were,
salty.
even if it were sea salt, you shouldn't just eat.
I know, but
Fried
like
nuggets
salt.
of it.
Nom 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 nom.
yeah.
Nuggets of salt.
we should do the story because we've been
Oh, yeah, wait.
talking for a long
Oh,
time.
fuck.
before-
Let me get my
We
my
went-
story in my head.
Oh yeah, we went
Wait.
completely. Okay,
we
so
went off
wait.
the rails.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. hold
Emma,
on.
what are your 5
I'm gonna write
words?
them down.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Shoplifting.
shoplifting's a good one.
Lifting.
We're writing these down.
Stepmom.
Stepmom.
Stepmom's a good one too.
8th grade.
Grade.
Shoplifting. Stepmom. 8th grade.
CDs.
CDs. Yeah.
Ice cream.
Okay. I like that you were choosing the words in the moment.
I had thought about them before, but but do your worst.
All right. Sean,
All right.
you want to kick this one off?
I'm gonna
You
go
go
first. I'm gonna go first. So knowing you, shoplifting was. I'm guessing. So back in the day, you ran a racket, a shoplifting racket, where you would be like, "Hey, if you want something but don't want to pay for it, I'll lift it for you for twice the price." People were easily gullible.
Thank
So
you.
they're like, "I don't want to pay for that. I'll pay someone to shoplift it." And Emma, you somehow tricked people into doing this, and so you were doing it, and you were making good money, and then your stepmom got in on it. She was like, "Well, look, I'm your stepmom. I deserve a cut." And you're like, "Fuck you, you're not my real mom." And your stepmom's like, "Fine, 5%, because you want 10." You're like, "That 10% is real
course.
mom cut, but 5%." And so you did this, and this is, you skipped 8th grade because of it, right?
I'm so honored that you're
Yeah.
pumping me up so much in
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you skipped because you dropped
Appreciate
out
that.
because you're 7th grade. You're making enough money doing this. You're like, "Fuck school." You just skip 8th grade. And then eventually, you're like, "I gotta go back to school," and and you were like, high school confidence. You developed confidence by being a professional shoplifter. Of course, what you didn't realize though, that year, your first love, you were like, "I'm done with this shoplifting game." But there was this, lady you had the hots for, and she really loved her some Wilson Phillips, and you were like, "That's a throwback." So you went and you were like, I'm gonna get this for you, and you got busted lifting a Wilson Phillips CD because you'd lost your touch. You got a little rusty. However, she was so touched. This girl, she was so touched by the notion of it all. They bailed you out of jail. They paid all your fines and celebrated with an ice cream bash.
I like it.
And that was when you learned about your sugar addiction. That's my version of the story.
All right. Mine's going to be a little
Thank you.
shorter.
Okay.
You got a few things that.
Might.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I can maybe.
Okay.
So you're a little preteen, and at this time you're still like a people pleaser. You're a little bit of a goody two shoes, and you start getting like assemblies in 8th grade of like the don't do drugs and like don't shoplift and don't do bad things, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm a goody two shoes. I'm gonna follow all these rules, and then you catch your stepmom shoplifting. And she's like, "Please don't tell your father." You have already like a kind of contentious relationship with her. You're really torn on what to do because it's wrong and that's not what they were teaching you in school. And then you say like, "Well, what did you get?" And she was like, "I was shoplifting these CDs to give to your father for his birthday." And you were like, "You know what? That comes from a nice place, so I'm not going to tell Dad." And it was like when you first started to like break the ice with your stepmom and finally like really bond with her, and you guys had this little secret. And she
Okay.
said, "Thank you so much," and she took you out for ice cream, and that was like one of the foundational memories of your childhood where you were like, not everyone's perfect, and it's gonna be okay.
You guys thought of those quick.
So we both think that you had a very moving experience that involved ice cream, obviously.
Right.
I love that we both just tacked the ice
Yeah.
cream on at the end.
Whose story was more accurate or closer to the truth?
Oh man. I think there are elements of the truth in both of them.
That's what we like. That's what we
yeah,
like.
there's elements of
You
truth
know
in
what
both
I
of
mean?
them.
Left brain,
Yeah.
right brain.
Yeah.
Gotta need each other to
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
All
What's
right,
the-
what's the
yeah,
what's
what's
the real
the-
Okay,
story?
the real one is, and it was my stepmom at the time. I've got a different stepmom now. So
Wait. How's that even happen?
so my dad got divorced.
And then remarried?
And then yeah.
But wait. Holy shit, I've never even thought about this.
Yes, I've had a few stepmoms,
I
but
think-
some of
does-
them weren't officially my stepmoms, but I would just call them my stepmoms.
So, but so then she ceases to be your stepmom.
yeah,
Yeah.
now she's just Cynthia. that woman.
Holy fuck, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You've never thought about this?
I just never. My parents are gross and in love.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but like, believe it fucks you up in different ways.
Were you talking about that at a
I
show
was talking
recently?
about
Oh
that
yeah,
on
yeah,
stage,
yeah, yeah.
But
And I see that too. I get that
yeah.
angle of it too.
Mhm.
But that is, how long was Cynthia your stepmom?
Okay, 8th, 9th, like I'd say like 6 years.
Oh wow, and formative years. too.
Formative years. But she was a little rough. But my stepmom now is absolutely awesome.
So no relationship with Cynthia anymore.
No, because she was tough.
Okay.
She was tough. But my stepmom now is great.
But this story's about Cynthia.
This is about Cynthia.
Okay.
Okay.
Fuck
My
yeah.
stepmom now would have not handled this like this at all. My
Okay.
stepmom now is like very like balanced and put together and good boundaries.
All right.
So Cynthia, okay, so 8th grade, I used to shoplift. I had been shoplifting a lot, and it was like something that me and my friend Tom, we were kind of not good in school. We started like doing these little shoplifting things,
Shoplifting's where how it starts.
and we were getting better.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
shit! It wasn't 8th grade. I think it was senior year of high school.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, because it was
Yeah.
something. It was senior year of high school. I started shoplifting in 8th grade, but I was like starting and stopping, and I had stopped shoplifting. Like I was like, that's it. I'm out of the game.
I'm out of
And then in 8th grade, in high school, it was like the summer, going into college, and we were like, let's do this like one big trip where we just like go to Bar Harbor, and then my friends were shoplifting, and I was like, I'm gonna shoplift too. So-
Fuck yeah.
So I had,
Statute of limitations is definitely passed.
thank God. So I had this thing I used to do where I would pretend to be looking at different CDs, and then I would somehow like I had a razor, I would like take off the security thing, and I would put them under my arm, and then while I just would pretend I was really flustered, and somehow that allowed me to like get CDs out of the store. I don't know how I did it.
Sounds. This is all very strategic. I like it.
It was really strategic.
Yeah.
It was really strategic. And I was in the CD store with my friend Tyler, and I took all these CDs, and then when I was leaving, I grabbed a postcard. So then we go to this ice cream store next door, and we're sitting there eating ice cream, and this
Right.
kid runs in, and he's like, hey, I think you just took something from my CD store. And I was like, you're right. So I hand him all the CDs, and then he's like, oh, I thought you just took a postcard.
Oh no.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, oh, no. And so he goes, let me go ask my manager how to deal with this. So he goes next door. I don't leave the ice cream store. I just sit there. My friend Tyler was like, you should run.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
You were like Billy the Kid. You wanted to be caught. You were a true outlaw.
It was like I just was like, oh, I didn't know what to do. So he comes back, and they're like, we're going to get arrested.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, damn. So they take me to the station, which was really close to the ice cream shop. And I was like, you guys are going to have to call my parents. I was like, you got to understand, my stepmom's nuts, though. And they're like, what does that even mean? I was like, I'm just telling you, just as a heads up, my stepmom's a little wonky. They're like, all right. So they go to call my stepmom. And while they were doing it, I took all the other stuff that I had shoplifted and I put it in the trash. And then they came in, they're like, did you just put something in the trash?
Like, no.
And I said, no. Got busted for that. And they're like, and you're lying. And I was like, damn it.
They just start pinning all kinds of shit on you. They're like,
Did he
embezzlement?
murder that
Did you
guy?
embezzle funds? You're like, no. What about this money? You just start confessing to everything. Like,
that cold case from 10 years ago.
Was that you? I was like, it was all me.
we finally learned who assassinated John F. Kennedy. Turned out it's 18-year-old Emma Willmann.
I'm just so confused. I've got like peanut butter on my face. Like, I guess I did it. I don't know. I don't remember anything. So they were like, you're going to be in big trouble. We're going to call, have your parents come pick you up. So it took my parents a while to get there, my dad and my stepmom. And I kept being, I was like, my stepmom's kind of mean to me. And she's weird. I was like, she might be showing up in a nightie. Like, I don't know what her
Okay.
vibe's going to be. So she shows up, and I could hear her, like, talking on the way to the police, talking in. And she's got this, like, overly sexual voice that was kind of uncomfortable. And she's like, where is she? Like, oh, she's a little monster. And I was like, see, she's a bitch.
Oh, God.
Such a bitch.
But no, the idea of her just being like, where's that little bad girl?
That's what it
I'm
felt
gonna
like.
spank
Oh,
her till she
weird.
says I'm sorry.
Right.
Like till she apologizes profusely.
Very pornographic-y. That's what she was
Like,
like.
Jesus Christ, Cynthia.
Crazy. And I got to stop using her real name because she used to sue people. I remember she sued the grocery store in our hometown. And
Now
won.
there's a lot of Cynthias in Oregon.
That's true.
Yes.
In Portland. Maine.
True. So it's not
Cynthia, capital
Cynthia,
of
if
the
you hear
world.
this and you're thinking I'm talking about you, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's the other one. So she comes in, and the cops, I can tell, are kind of like, this woman is kind of weird. But we get back, I'm grounded, and then my dad's like, you have to get a job so you can get a lawyer. And I was doing this
Fuck, really?
all summer because I was going to contest it for some reason. And then they lost all of the charges, and I think they lost it because they felt bad because Cynthia was so nuts.
That's
Wow.
crazy. They dropped them all?
They dropped
Wow.
everything.
Wait, maybe Cynthia's a genius. Maybe this is
Maybe.
her like, I know how I'm going to get.
Actually, I
All right,
never
next
thought
time
about
I get
that.
arrested, you just come in with a really sultry voice.
Yeah. What if Cynthia.
Actually, I never thought about that,
Cynthia's
Sean,
like
and I
Snape.
see what you're saying.
She's like Snape. All this time she was on your side.
She could have been
Yeah.
playing
Here's
the
how-
long game.
Here's
in case
how
I
we're
got
gonna get
arrested.
Emma out. Where's my bad little stepdaughter?
Right.
It's time for her to bag mommy for forgiveness. Like, Jesus Christ, this woman's fucking. We
Gross.
gotta
Gross,
drop the
gross.
charges. We gotta drop the charges. She might be finger banging her stepdaughter.
Right.
It's
She,
like,
that I never thought that maybe she had a game plan in it, but
what?
whatever it was,
Fucking
clean record.
I look at
That's
Isn't that
so
crazy?
nuts, dude.
yeah. But somewhere Cynthia's gonna hear this and just smile as she drinks her tea and raises her other 3 foster children
Right.
that
Right.
she's gotten since.
Sues the other grocery store in town. Why did she sue the grocery
Because
store?
she slipped and fell in it, and she said they didn't have the sign in the right place, and she won.
Wow.
And she sued the high school in town, and she won that. So she was like
What?
kind of like a mythic figure
Interesting.
because she was suing people.
Yeah.
But I bet none of her stepkids have any crimes on their record.
I
She
bet they're
gets
all
you all
just-
out of
they're
it.
all
I
doing
never
great.
thought of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, man.
That's
That's so funny because like, I mean, shoplifting is definitely something. Everyone except Caitlin. I don't think Caitlin.
You never
you've ever done it.
shoplifted? I used to do it all the time as a kid.
I didn't as a kid. I probably have now, just like bigger corporations. I
Mm.
don't know, not like recently, but like I probably have. You know.
Wait, can
Like
I? Can,
accidentally?
No, probably like the self checkout machines. where
Oh,
I'm just like,
yeah,
I'm
fuck
not gonna pay
that.
for organic,
Oh,
whatever.
can,
Yeah.
wait? Can we tell Emma and the listeners about the time
I don't know what
with the
you're talking
nuts?
about.
You know the thing, the time with the
whatever.
nuts?
Oh, okay. So hopefully my mom. The more comfortable I get with this
stealing
podcast,
nuts?
the more that I worry that my mom will figure out how to listen to a podcast.
Amen.
But when me and my brother were kids, my mom would take us grocery shopping with her.
Yeah.
And she would get us like the little candy things that come in the like clear things. And she would say, finish this before we get to the checkout. Which I just thought was
Yeah,
normal.
dude.
I just thought was normal. I didn't realize like as a kid.
Hustlin'.
And
Yeah.
so I like recently not recently.
No,
a
this was
couple
like 5 years ago.
5 years ago. We were
Yeah.
at a bodega and I just like grabbed a couple nuts because like that's
Well, it
Instinctive.
was one of these bodegas
Yeah.
that had like the lift and like there's like big containers
right,
of nuts
right.
and
You gotta
chocolates.
scoop it.
Yeah.
And I just like scooped some and then started eating them and not thinking. It was
Right,
just
so
like
walking
that's my
around
childhood.
nuts.
And Sean was like, Caitlin, you cannot do that. And I felt really bad, especially because it was like just an independent bodega. It wasn't
Sure.
like a big grocery.
I just want to.
And you're like, this is what you do. This
Yes,
is this is
this
the
is
snacks
how I
you get
was
for being
raised.
yeah.
And I'd like to point out, I wasn't like, Caitlin, you can't do that. I was more like, what the fuck are you doing? I
Right.
wasn't gonna snitch.
No.
No.
But I
But
definitely.
you shamed me. And sometimes shaming
Well,
is
maybe he
important.
didn't want you to get caught.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also like I steal from every fucking corporation
Yeah,
all day
yeah, yeah.
long, but like local
No,
businesses. I'm
sometimes
like,
you
I
have
can't
to
do it.
shame people.
Can't-
And I
can't
needed
steal
to be
from
shamed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
Woken
fucking.
up.
But
Yeah.
it was funny when you explained that to me because I was like, your mom, opposite of Cynthia, crime spree. Just set your kids out. Didn't your brother like take the SATs for someone once?
Yeah.
See?
Really?
Crime spree.
I wish someone took
Your
the
mom
SATs
sets
for me.
people on crime
Yeah,
spree.
I
How
bet.
how did he do that?
I hope that he doesn't get mad. I don't know.
What
if he
was in
listens
it
to
for
this
him?
podcast.
Did he get paid?
Yeah, he got
Yes.
paid. So and it wasn't just some random person. It was his friend who was really bad at taking tests and wanted to be an actor and got into UCLA, but needed to have like a certain minimum SAT score. And for some reason, before they had even had this discussion, they thought it was funny when they were taking ID pictures to switch cards. So
Huh.
they had each other's face as
Yeah.
their school ID anyway.
Huh.
So then my brother's friend, like, at some point, he had gotten into UCLA. He had to retake the SATs to get this minimum score and was like, this might be a long shot, dude, but will you take the SATs for me using the school ID that you already have with
Wow.
my name on it? My brother was like, yeah, okay.
See, we didn't.
Wow.
We didn't have to take the SATs at Slidell High. It was like, if you wanted to, you could. It was voluntary, but we had to take the ACTs. And my friend was like, I don't want to take them. Will you take them for me? I was like, sure. And I scored way low. His life sucks now. He's fucking. Last I checked, heroin overdose. No, I'm
No.
kidding.
Just
No,
all
it's getting
string
better.
out an
That would just
ACT
be
score.
fucking hilarious if you like.
Took a wrong. He was gonna go to med school. Everything
Yeah.
was on
And
track,
If he'd,
and
have just,
yet
if he'd have just done it himself, he'd be the fucking president of a pharmaceutical corporation. But I fucked his life.
that SAT
Yeah.
score
Do people
just did
still
him in.
take it? Like, I
The
feel like it
ACT?
doesn't. No, the SATs. I
I
feel like they don't matter
think-
as much anymore.
I feel like everyone's all like standardized testing. No,
Yeah, I
no,
think
no.
that's how it
But I
is now.
guarantee they still get taken.
Because it's still some kind of a metric. It's
Yeah.
almost like I can't like it's like comedy festivals. Like it doesn't necessarily do anything per se, but it's like something to like try to study for or
To-
shoot
yeah.
for,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but also it's a thing to go for.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's. Did you wait? Did you take the SATs?
Yeah, I didn't. So I took the SATs, and I'm dyslexic. So I went to this like special room to take it. So I
Right.
remember going in, and all my friends went into one room, and then they were like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I go into another room." And then I had to go into this other room, and I remember when I walked in the other room, I saw two people that I was friends with, and none of us had told the other one that we were
Right.
all like ADD or dyslexic. So
Oh, that's funny.
I remember being
Yeah.
like, "John," and he was like, we're," and we were like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
One sign says SATs, and then you go in the room that says TASs.
Exactly, exactly.
So you got to do it.
And we were able to have like extra hours in it. So him and I were in there for like 4 or 5 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how to take the test. Like it didn't help us. We didn't need extra time because
Yeah.
we couldn't like read and write well. So it was
Yeah.
just extra time for us to be like, fuck.
One of the meanest, most feared motherfuckers at Slidell High School while I was there was dyslexic.
Really?
And mean as fuck about it.
And he let people know, or she let people know.
It was he. It got out, but it was a thing where it was like, if ever dyslexia got brought up in any just conversation, you'd see him sort of just like
Wow.
almost like, ooh, great, this is my opportunity to fight people because someone's gonna say how I'm dyslexic and I'm gonna beat the shit out of them,
That's so weird.
and then call him a futhermucker. But not he never ever. Man, I wonder what that dude's doing now.
yeah, what a cause to get behind too.
But he
know.
never that was a thing. But that was growing up. I can say that now looking back. That was growing up in the late '90s, where it was like there was no. It wasn't that there was no sympathy. There was just no acceptance of anything.
Yeah,
Like,
things
no
have switched
ailments.
so
So much.
much.
So much.
Because now it'd be like clearly he has problems at home, or
Right.
he needs
Yeah.
a mental
Right.
test,
Oh, yeah.
or like whatever.
And it's also like the thing that they never drove home to anybody my age was just like, hey, you don't be ashamed. You didn't choose that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no like pre-birth choices you made. Like, wait, I want to have a big dick. Oh wait, no,
Right.
I fucked that up.
Right.
Dyslexia. Fuck, I got
Right.
that now.
Right.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
like I don't. Oh, I want to be just able to discern between good and bad. Wait, I hit the wrong button. Now I've got
Right.
shit. Like that.
Oh.
It's not. Nothing's your fault. Even that's why even fucking asshole. Even the guys who ride their motorcycles or their big cars, where it's like, look, you didn't choose.
To have a small
Your
dick.
small penis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be ashamed of that. You know. Speaking of which,
It's
Yeah.
so much nature versus nurture, and I think about that a lot actually, because I always try to be like, what would I be like if I was in that situation? And it helps you not judge people so much.
Yeah.
oh, fuck yeah, absolutely.
Even though I can still judge people sometimes, but I try to then think of it like, what would
It's-
I be like if I were you?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
judging people is fun. Is the
It is.
problem.
it's
it's a-
natural.
It's fun.
It's
Yeah.
a bond of friendships
Yes.
because you get together. Like if there was someone we both knew to judge,
Yeah.
then instantly I'd be, oh, I gotta,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
this
But
motherfucker.
you know, I mean, luckily, because of Cynthia's grand plan, you never yourself had to go in front of a judge.
Never had to.
Yeah.
You got
Never
Yeah.
had to. I'm gonna thank her. I'm gonna
yeah.
reach out
I
to
still
her.
love
You
that.
should.
Wait, where?
Wait. Before we wrap
What?
up, I am a big Crazy Ex-Girlfriend fan.
Oh,
Do you
awesome.
have any fun stories from working on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So this one is probably my favorite one.
Mhm.
So I well there's a few, but okay, so when I first on just like a beginning being on set, like Rachel Bloom to
Yeah.
me was I found her very intimidating, even though she was really nice and
Mhm.
great, and like she's always wearing so many hats on set. But because she was like writing,
Yeah.
starring, singing, writing some of the songs,
Yeah.
like she's a powerhouse.
Wow.
And I would try to be really like just treat her like a normal person, be
Mhm.
friendly, but she was kind of intimidating
Yeah.
to me. So we were at craft services, and it was just the two of us, and I went behind her and I like tapped her just to say hi. And then the way I did it though was the way you do when you're like pranking someone, where you tap and then move so they look and you're not
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it to be like cool and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So I tapped her and she goes, "What?"
Oh,
And then she looks and she doesn't see anybody. And then by that time I was in a corner like, oh God. And she was like, Emma? And I was like, yeah, sorry I did that. And she was like, I never would have yelled at you like that. Let me explain what just happened. And I was like, you don't have to explain anything. And she was like, I just was telling everybody I needed to take a mental health moment, and they were saying no. And everyone
wow.
was giving me a lot of pushback, so I just got over here to get some tea, and then I thought they were tapping me and running away. That's why I yelled at you. And then she was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And then that's how that kind of like broke the ice, and we like got to like talking
That's
more.
nice.
But there was like 30 seconds where I thought, because she was like, what? What now? And I was like, oh shit, I've done something horribly wrong. And she was so apologetic and
Oh,
nice
man.
you
about
hit
it.
the
That's so
rage
funny.
nerve.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what have I done?
Wait, is that something you can actually do? Is go? I need a mental health moment.
She needed a minute, and it was like late.
Yes, you can do that.
Wow.
I'm
Anybody can
sure
do
it
that.
wasn't when they were like some need. It was just a minute where she was like, "I need a minute to regroup,"
Right,
or
right,
something
right.
like that. Because
Yeah.
she would be on set all day, and then she'd be writing. Because they wrote and filmed it at the same time.
Right.
It wasn't like some shows. I guess their budget allows for them to like do it separately. They were
Right.
writing and filming, and
That's
she was
Wow.
doing
amazing.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, that's just interesting. Because like I was hanging out with a couple comedians recently, and I won't say names, but one of the comedians was like, "What are y'all doing?" And we were like, "Oh, we're going to this other show," and they were like, "I'm gonna come with. I just don't want to be alone right now."
Huh.
And it was a thing where I was like,
Interesting.
if like shit like that, I'm like, I come from that world where like I know I can say that now.
I would never
Yeah.
say that
But
though.
it's so
ever.
interesting to be like, man, like that's so honest and
Right.
cool. But like I think about just like my upbringing. If I'd ever said some shit like that,
Oh, I
around
never
people, they'd
would
be
have
like,
known.
What?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fuck is wrong with
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Even like 5 years ago, I would never said that out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Or to be
Because I
aware
have
of yourself.
felt that way. I have
Sure.
certainly felt that way.
Absolutely.
A lot.
Yeah.
Especially
Absolutely.
in New York, where you're like, oh God, I'm just alone now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my head.
Me in my head, and the whole world's whizzing
Yeah.
around me, and I'm
Yeah.
having an existential crisis. I'm
Right.
going to go overeat or drink. Instead,
Right.
that person was like, I don't want to be alone. And you're like, what?
You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, come with us. That's actually, I'm impressed.
So
Well
a
done.
mental health moment. I
That's
mean, I've
yeah.
never said that in my life. The only time I say that is if I've had such a breakdown, it's beyond. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like desolate emotionally, and I'm like, I need a mental health moment. I'm so far in the red.
Yeah.
It's like I needed a mental health moment 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm having a breakdown.
Yeah. And you have to say because it's like an excuse because your behavior is very obvious. Whereas like
Yeah. After
it's
my
interesting to have someone who's appearing normal just be like, I need a mental health moment.
Yeah.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
literally, a building is on fire. I'm on the porch
Yeah.
smoking cigarettes. Like, I need a moment. And
Yeah.
the night, like
moment's passed.
after my fuck health party, people could say, guys, I
Fuck
need a
mental health party.
I need, no, it'll be just a health party in general. So there'll be all kinds of bad. There'll be food. There'll also be pictures of everyone who's invited of their childhood, with just
sounds so
derogatory
fun.
terms underneath.
Sure.
Yeah.
Taped to each picture, and
Lots of drugs.
messages from your relatives telling you how they never believed in you. But and
Egging you
drugs.
on.
No, but at the fuck health party, I want people to just afterwards be like, guys, I need a physical health month,
Mm.
which means I'm just not gonna. I'm just gonna fucking lay in bed and
I
eat
would
soup
love
for
that.
4 weeks.
That sounds wonderful.
Sounds great.
Mhm.
Physical health month.
Yeah.
That should just be.
Would that be Physical Health Month?
I think that should just be health month,
It being in bed eating soup?
or just whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's not exactly the best physical health regimen.
No.
But I appreciate that.
Because the soup would start as a healthy soup and then be like, just give me fucking clam chowder.
Yeah,
every day.
creamier and creamier.
Cream
Yeah.
of just cream of clam chowder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cream the clam cheddar,
And
take
no
out the clams.
exercise, just stay in bed. all
Yeah,
day.
just the
Just
cream.
cream.
Just cream
Yeah.
of cream. Can you give me a bowl of cream of cream?
Oh, that sounds
Cream
awful.
of wheat. Good shit though. Cream of wheat.
So good.
But also the fucking just 1 month a year where it's like everything's closed.
Yeah, be a reset.
Just just
Well,
a health
hasn't
month.
that been this year, really?
Yeah, but
yeah, but not
that's-
healthy.
not healthy.
Not healthy
at
The
all.
only things
Yeah.
open is bars.
Right.
You know, 'cause that's what you need. But wait. Where are we gonna find you?
Yeah.
Okay, Instagram is what I do the most. Emma Willmann on Instagram.
Yes, you do. You do.
And then I
some fun
was
shit.
trying to TikTok. I didn't really get into it. Don't tweet, but Instagram and Facebook, I'm on there.
Instagram's fun. You do
I
good.
like
you do good stuff
Instagram.
on Instagram. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Excuse me. That's a belch.
And are you going to be in New York for a little while?
I'm
or
supposed
LA?
to go back to LA.
Yeah.
Pack up my apartment. Go to. It's all up in the air, and
Mm-hmm.
it's making me really flustered and stressed out about it. But I'll be back in New York eventually.
Cool.
Probably
All
like
right,
2
good.
months.
Because we love seeing you. And
Likewise.
And you. We all go. Everyone goes to LA for a while,
Yeah.
but
LA is great.
LA's fun.
I was probably healthier. I'm probably healthier and happier in LA, but it's very hard to do comedy out there.
Yeah.
It's just a different beast out there. Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is.
But it's New York right now. Days like today,
Beautiful.
podcasts like this one,
In a
Amen.
backyard.
and backyards like this with Bob Marley, which
Yep.
which I'm gonna show the people.
All
But
right.
thank you, Emma. Wait,
Thank
this
you
is long
guys.
enough because I'm just gonna
I
spin this
appreciate it.
round.
Yeah, spin that.
But here we
camera.
go. A mural dedicated to not only reggae legend, but a reminder of
The comedian.
comedian Maine's own.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Emma.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Hey guys, this is Caitlin. I hope you enjoyed the episode with Emma. I just released a new song called Little Voice under my music moniker, Candid Bandit. So here is that. Thanks for listening. Go stream it.
I got lost in a train of thought,
Its last stop was here. Found myself walking your block again. I got caught in the rain. I thought my last stop would be here. Found myself walking down your block again. And I've been stepping out on what's expected. I've been stepping out just to get my steps in. But the little voice in the back of my head says I can't do it. No, I can't do it. Oh, the little voice in the back of my head. Oh, why do I still listen to it? Turning on to Geralman, your words sit in my ears. Never could take a compliment, could I? I was wrong to fall for someone who'd get in my ears. Never could see the obvious, could I? And I've been stepping out on what's expected.